Hello and welcome. My name is Thomas, and in this video we're going to talk about why if you're running a personal brand, you do not need a logo. Okay, so one of the great things about all the technology at our fingertips today, from the website building tools to all of the marketing tools, email marketing tools, software, you've got things of course like YouTube and podcasts and blogs and everything else that enables us to start to build a presence on the web, which has started to give rise to an increase in the number of people who are starting to build their own personal brands. People who no longer have to rely upon things like TV and radio to actually reach an audience. You can start at any point in time relatively inexpensively to do that. Now, as I've touched on in the past, I've worked with a lot of individuals, both who are just getting started with their personal brand and have been running one for years and years, some of which who are running million and multi-million dollar businesses and brands on the web. A lot of people though who have a good idea for something that they would like to start building a personal brand for, say they want to start a blog, or maybe they want to start offering finance services or online courses or whatever it is that they're trying to build, particularly on the web, what a lot of people start with over and over again is a logo. They say, you know what, I want to start a personal brand. Where would you recommend that I go for a logo? Or I've even had people come to me and say, do you do logos for personal brands? And even to a number of those people who have come to me, the first piece of advice that I'll offer is that you don't even need one. So most people's first reaction to that is, wait, what? I'm running a business, of course I need a logo. And the problem is that we've kind of been trained to associate the thought of business or brand with iconography, with an image. We think of a brand, we think of Nike and the swoosh. When we think of a brand, we think of McDonald's and the golden arches. However, particularly with a personal brand, less and less are we starting to see the requirement for a logo. In fact, a number of different studies and polls that have come out throughout the last several years have indicated that personal and consumer trust in corporate brands is continuing to decline. And the reason is because we as consumers have become very skeptical. We've got sick and tired of all the ads that we have, whether they interrupt radio, TV, or even flashing banner ads on the internet. We are inundated with corporate brands. And you can start to see what's called unbranding. A lot of big corporate brands, what they've started to do is become very personal in their social media profiles. Some of them will post memes or they'll troll other companies, all in a pursuit of trying to be more relatable. The great thing about you and running a personal brand is that you're already a person and you're already relatable. So the more you can actually focus upon what advantages you have as a personal brand, the more successful you're going to be as you start to build that brand. So this kind of brings us full circle to the main point that I wanted to make today, which is that the main advantage that a personal brand has over a corporate one is the person, right? It is you. And so what that means is that your logo is you. Your face, your name, those things are your logo. Those are the things that you want to focus upon, and those are the things that you want to get through in your website, in your copy, in your videos, in your podcasts. At the end of the day, people, when they are associating themselves with a brand, know that that brand represents something. It's something that people can put confidence in. So in the same way that people put confidence in a Nike product because of all the years that they've built up a reputation that gets associated with the swoosh, you want that exact same thing to happen with your name. That's why it's a big mistake to focus more, at least from the visual perspective, on an actual image or logo, because at that point you're branding two different things at once. What you want people to remember is you, your personality, and your way of doing business or solving a particular problem. Okay, so that's a lot of theory, that's a lot of psychology and ideas, but how does this actually become useful from a practical sense? So people say, okay, so I don't need a logo, what do I need? What you want to do instead, particularly most people do, is they go and they invest $100 or $200 in a logo design contest or service, and that's how they get started. Here's what I would recommend. Don't actually go through with the logo project. Instead, find a photographer. What you want to do is you want to find a photographer or someone, even if it's someone you know, if you're really strapped, if your budget isn't quite there yet, find someone who can take some nice professional photos of you. And not just any photos. You don't want to just do the photos that everybody else is doing because it's hip or it's in season or in style. What you want to do is get some photos taken of you that fit the brand that you're trying to build. A lot of this will go along with your personality. Are you trying to build a brand that is more whimsical, more comical, more lighthearted, more traditional and professional? What is the type of brand or what is the type of persona that you want to actually represent you? Go out and get photos that fit that. So for example, if you are trying to get something that is highly executive and business oriented, you probably don't want to go out into an alleyway and get those pictures up against the brick wall that are really, popular these days. You probably want to find an office space where you're chatting with a few other people around a round table in very formal wear. Again, if you're looking for more of a hip or less executive, more personal brand, maybe you do want something with the brick wall background or something that's a little bit more urban or something like that, but whatever fits your brand best. Okay, so let's say that you don't necessarily have the budget for a photographer. I would highly recommend working with a professional because they're going to tell you how to stand, how the orientation of the photo should be, particularly for how you're going to use it. But at the absolute least, pretty much every single smartphone that is these days, comes with an extremely high quality camera. You can even use that to begin with. The main point I'm trying to make here is that you want to focus first on your persona, on your face, on how people are going to perceive you. Because if you spend $200 on a logo, that's going to get lost on most people, particularly people who are trained to ignore corporate brands. Instead, if you focus more on you, on your face, and on your personality, people are 10 times more likely to connect with you. Okay, so then the next question is, what do we do with these photos? At that point, if you're starting completely from scratch, you want to start the process of building out a really basic web page. And you can think of this as kind of a glorified About Me page. Now here's kind of the good mixture of what makes a good personal brand website. I'm not going to go into all the details because I do this for a living, so I could probably go on for hours about what makes a good personal brand website. But what you want to do is fuse two things. First, it's very personal. Like I said, it's got all those beautiful photos of you throughout. It tells a little bit about who you are, so that's kind of first and foremost because we want it to be memorable of you. The second piece, and primarily even more important than the first piece, is answering the question for the person visiting the page, what's in it for me? Don't say, hi, my name is Bill, I'm an accountant. Say, I can help you do this. Or do you having this problem? I can help you solve that problem. So that's what you want to do with your headline, with your copy, and throughout that page. But the main point, the main thing that you want to keep in mind is that when it comes to building a personal brand, you and your personality are the logo. Okay, so I know what I typically get when I start to kind of lay these scenarios out when it comes to the question of a logo. Somebody will eventually say, okay, so are you saying we should just never have a logo if we have a personal brand? And by no means. In fact, I work with plenty of personal brands who have a logo. What I would say that is if you're gonna be starting out, don't let that be your focus. In fact, what you'll find typically, and a lot of the clients I work with tend to find later on, is that after they start to get a feel for their audience and the type of clients they work with and the type of products they sell, that starts to build a foundation for what an actual logo could look like. Later on, when you're going to start doing things like letterhead or business cards or print collateral, when you actually need a logo, then you can start to formulate one. But that comes way down the road after you've already established who you are, the persona, and the type of clients and prospects and people you want to work with and the problems you want to solve. Okay, so that's it. Just as a quick recap, don't focus on a logo, focus upon you and your persona and the particular type of photography that's going to portray you best. Second of all, think of how you can tie that together into a website that's very photocentric. And then third of all, think of how you're going to present your copy, your headlines, to make it clear that this is who I am and these are the problems I can help you solve. Now, one of the things I do offer actually over at Notable Themes is a totally free starter theme, as we call it, which is just a one-page scroller meant to get someone started for building a personal brand. This is totally free. I'll leave a link below if you'd like to check out that theme. But at the end of the day, just One of the things I wanted to make very clear throughout this video as a really helpful and useful tip is to make sure that it is always your persona, your personality that comes across and not just a stock corporate brand. Okay, so as always, if you found this video useful, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.